part of the quiet storm. Now be ready for the Thunderstorm. It's the show where we can't be quiet, discussing world affairs from the Christian hip-hop perspective. That's right, the Christian hip-hop perspective. With your host, Christian hip-hop artist and sports blogger, GQ Forever. So turn up your radio. You are now listening to the Thunderstorm.
One, two, is this on?
Guess what? Monday Night Live, the first day of October. It's time to go. Let's get it. The storm is on. I gotta give my family over at Inside the Eagles a shout out. A site record. Most viewers ever on the site. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Storm. The fastest growing media conglomerate known to man. The home of the bad boys of Christian Talk Radio. The home of yours truly, GQ, spelled just like it sounds. Last night we had the premiere of a brand new episode of a brand new show, Bird Game Weekly. That's my thing. Be on the lookout for the Inside the Eagles podcast. That's coming to the Fan-Sided Network. Did I tell y'all that once again we had 1 million readers? Shout out to the family Inside the Eagles. My man G-Palm, Derek, Regina, Dominique. My main man Justin Grosso. We're the fastest growing site on the internet for Eagles related content. Proud members of the Fan-Sided family. Just in case you missed what I said exactly 30 seconds ago, we got the Inside the Eagles podcast, but I couldn't wait. So we started Bird Game Weekly. The first show was last night. I appreciate everybody for tuning in. Since the Storm's return, that's the highest rated show that we've done. And that's for one reason and one reason alone. The Philadelphia Eagles are home to the best fans in all the sports. But y'all already know that. Like the page on Facebook, Thunderstorm Media. Follow me on Twitter at GQ_4_EVA. Like the Inside the Eagles page, fresh Eagles content daily. And welcome to Monday Night Live as we go to roll call. Welcome Raleigh, Greensboro, Nigeria. I just found out we got listeners in Nigeria. So thank y'all for tuning in. Thank you to everybody that listens in France. It's 3 o'clock in the morning over there. And only Lord knows what happens at 3 o'clock in the morning. None of it's ever positive. I know y'all know how to cut up in France, but we appreciate y'all for listening to the listening family. Shout out to Vegas, my man Malak bin Mashah. Shout out to LA, to the twins, the Millen sisters. Welcome to the Storm, ladies and gentlemen. Your host, GQ Forever, as we welcome, always, my co-pilot for tonight's proceedings, Trail. What's going on, brother?
What's going on, man? What's going on? Good to be home.
Last week we did an amazing show with Doc Honeycutt, but it's Doc Honeycutt. How can we not have a good show? Exactly. That's almost impossible.
You know I love Doc.
Shout out to the Beauties and Bikers, man. Like, she just keeps expanding to the Beauties and Bikers family every day. And good gracious, Beauty, to describe these women, we gonna have to start making up words. Beautiful just don't quite get it.
I'm not touching it, but I must say, Doc, I appreciate you for that Bikers and Beauty. Thank you very much.
The Bikers and Beauty reality show is live. You can find that on a myriad of channels. Shout out to Doc Honeycutt. Shout out to everybody that tuned in last night, Trail, for the first airing of Bird Game Weekly, our new podcast dedicated to the Philadelphia Eagles. We got a surprise on the way. Rumor has it, Trail, you working on one for the Baltimore Ravens.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. It's coming.
Did I supposed to surprise? Was I supposed to say that?
I mean, listen, you can let them know. You can let them know. Definitely, it's coming.
New shows are being added as we speak. The Storm is back. Coming soon to iHeartRadio. Coming soon to iTunes podcasts. You can, as of right now, you can tune in and check out classic episodes of The Storm via iHeart, via iTunes. New episodes will be uploading shortly. Until then, you can always check us out on Spreaker. Spreaker.com/Thunderstorm Media. You can check us out live. And we're right at the point where we're getting close to doing like shows daily. But thank you to everybody that tuned in and checked out the Bird Gang Weekly Podcast. We had a lot of fun. As usual, I cut up. But we'll be with you for the duration of the season. And thank you to everybody that comes to check out Inside the Eagles on the daily. Shout out to Justin, my co-editor over there. Justin's got a new job. He's actually covering the Sixers for one of the sports radio networks up there in Philly. So shout out to him. Shout out to my man Courtney Harden. Shout out to the Mighty Armor over there at the BS3 Radio Network. We got them coming on the show soon. And shout out again to Doc Honeycutt for what she did with us on last weekend. Shout out to Miss T.
Yes.
I can't say her name without laughing. Every time I think about T-Man, I think about something she said that was funny.
Yeah, I do too.
So shout out to everybody. Welcome to the Storm. Who we got on the show tonight, Trey?
Oh, man, I'm excited. I'm excited about this one. I've known this man for quite some time, man. I call him my brother. Every time I see him, you know how you meet those people that every time you meet them, every time you see them, they just got that good vibe around them. That's him.
True.
It's my brother tonight, Lamar, man. Lamar. I don't know. Are we bringing him on? We ain't bringing him on yet. Are we gonna do it? Are we doing something first, or are we bringing him on now?
We're gonna get into the opening rant real quick. I gotta get some shout outs.
So.
And definitely got to play some music, but we definitely got him on tonight. Okay. We appreciate him for joining the Storm on tonight. Congratulations to the Oklahoma and Alabama programs. 900 wins now. Woo. They join Michigan, Ohio State, and Texas as the only programs in NCAA history to win 900 games.
Man,
congratulations.
Oklahoma looks serious.
Oh, yeah. Jalen Hurts is that dude. You know, it's amazing what coaching does, doesn't it? 1 minute you can't pass, the next minute you passing all over the place. It's amazing what coaching would do.
Well, I'm just saying, sometimes you just got to let them go, man.
All of a sudden,
you got to let them boys do what they do.
Pass. All of a sudden.
Exactly. All of a sudden.
Well, I think that's all about just how you prep somebody. Sometimes if you prep somebody to just be a game manager, that's all they're going to be able to do, even though they have a higher ceiling. But if you're preparing them to be more than what somebody else was, sometimes, like, you know, the old saying, another man's trash is another man's treasure, I think that definitely applies to that situation.
Yeah, definitely got to go with you on that one.
Yeah, definitely.
Congratulations to Larry Fitzgerald as he passes Tony Gonzalez for second place on the all-time receptions record.
Still behind Jerry Rice.
Great Jerry Rice, who he's never going to catch.
Not never.
I don't know if anybody ever will.
Nah, I don't see it happening.
By my calculations, Fitz would have to play somewhere around 6 to 7 more years. I don't know if he's got that kind of run left in him. But if he was to play about 6 or 7 more years, he'd probably catch Rice. But he passes Tony Gonzalez. Congratulations to him.
Congrats, big congrats.
He also has 118 career touchdowns. That's good for 6 all-time. He's 10 behind Marvin Harrison, if I'm not – I'm going off the dome here. I think the last time I looked, because I looked at this before we went live, but I think he's 10 behind Marvin Harrison. Either he's 10 behind him or 10 to give him 5th place, one or the other. But congrats to Larry Fitzgerald. And shout out to him because he got me in a club once. They thought I was him. Congrats to
know,
Teresa Weatherspoon. She joins the Pelicans coaching staff. Congratulations to her. Shout out to the Pelicans for doing big things and honoring our sisters, as a matter of fact. Shout out to the Pelicans because they got 2 Duke Blue Devils on the team.
right. It's about time they get the. I mean, listen, it's about time them Duke Blue Devils get the proper respect they deserve. So hey, it's about time.
Teresa Weatherspoon, as mentioned, now joins the Pelicans coaching staff. Legend in the WNBA, a legend period. And she also joined Swins Cash, who was already in the building, I think. Isn't she like the VP of basketball operations over there?
Yeah,
she's got like 2 titles or
is.
something, if I'm not mistaken. I think she's the VP of basketball operations, and she's head of something else. I'm not exactly sure what it is. I think it's team development.
It's one of those, if I can remember correctly. I want to say it was the team development thing, if I ain't mistaken.
Shout out to
them. But I do know she holds multiple titles over there.
Yeah. And shout out to the Carolina Panthers fan base, who's all of a sudden returned thanks to a 2-game winning streak. I told you they're the Dallas Cowboys. Nobody's pounding anything when this team is losing. As soon as they go on a winning streak, they're everywhere. So shout out to the Carolina Panthers fan base and their new quarterback, Kyle Allen. It's over for Cam Newton.
Oh no! I
know.
Man, you so hard on Cam, man. Listen, I feel like once he get his shoulder together, he gonna come back and we gonna see the real Cam. I think he got one more run in him. Now, I will say this, like I told y'all, if he don't start proving himself, this is his last season in Carolina. So while I did say that, I want it to be known that I don't want this to be the man's last season in Carolina, because somebody had came and talked to me about what I said when I said that it was his last season. And they said, how you going to go on there and say that? Well, it's because it's the truth. The truth is, if he don't get it together, you're not going to pay for something that is not producing. And when I say producing, I don't mean wins. I mean you have to produce championships, a division title, a Super Bowl, something. And Cam just ain't doing that right now.
Trail,
so,
they're 0-8 in their last 8 games that Cam started.
I know, but I think it was the shoulder, man. I think it was the shoulder. That's why he went ahead and sat it down.
I give you that. But I'll tell you another thing, too. Cam got hurt at the wrong time because this now gives them an opportunity to see if they can win without this dude and if it's time to move on. And all signs point to the fact that it probably is. Now, I'm sure he'll probably get a job somewhere. There are plenty of teams who tend to – I don't understand this, man. I have to say this. People say I come off as a know-it-all. I can honestly sit here and admit that the people that do this job know more about what they're doing than me. I can't sit here and say I know more about scouting than an NFL scout. That would be ridiculous. I can't say I know more about coaching than Freddie Kitchens, even though he's terrible. He's better than me and you, but me and you aren't in the NFL. But what I don't understand is what people are looking at sometimes when they do some of their analysis. I always knew that Jalen Hurts could throw the ball.
Did you?
For some reason, everybody else didn't know that. I'm sitting here looking at footage of him right now, Trail. He won a game. I would have to say he's the clear-cut front runner for the Heisman Trophy. And 20 minutes after he wins, he's doing some strength and conditioning.
Yeah, pretty much.
This dude's in here with the medicine ball. They just went 3.5 hours.
I mean, listen, that's what champions built of, man. You gotta have that extra level.
Yeah, he's supposed to be winning. You know who doesn't have that, Trail?
Oh, don't hurt my feelings. Who?
Cam Newton.
Man, here you go. Get off of Cam. Listen, he gonna be all right. It was the shoulder, baby.
He's gonna be good enough to win some games. He's gonna get a job somewhere, but I just don't see what y'all see. I understand. I don't know what y'all are seeing when y'all look at this dude. I don't know what the rest of the NFL and everybody that's on this Cam Newton hype train is seeing. I don't see it. I've never seen it.
Listen, I'm just a believer that I'm giving him one last hurrah, man. I think he got one left in him where he can show us who he really is. Now, the thing that messed him up, and I really wish people would stop acting like they done played some. I mean, the only formidable team that they played since he's been out was the Texans, I guess. So, I mean, I can give Kyle Allen credit for that, but let's not act like the Cardinals was the Patriots. They were they struggling too.
Would the Cardinals have beaten the Philadelphia Eagles if Cam Newton was present?
For sure.
You think so? Let me ask you this,
Oh,
Trail.
for sure.
Trail, I'm gonna make you the general manager. Put your general manager hat on. I'm gonna ask you a question.
Oh boy, here you go. Always got to put me in tough situations. Go ahead.
You've taken the place. You get the benefit of following the guy who follows the guy. You know what I mean? It's hard to follow Dean Smith. It's easier to follow the guy who follows Dean Smith. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
It's a whole lot easier to be Roy Williams than Matt Doherty.
Right.
So I'm going to put you in that situation. Ozzie Newsome, we know he's a legend.
Man.
One of the best to ever do it at a general manager level.
Man.
The legend
Like I'm
leaves.
follow?
Everything the next person does is compared to the legend, and it's not quite the same. So then he leaves, and then Trail becomes the general manager of the Baltimore Ravens. Can you picture it?
I can definitely picture it. Definitely.
You have to start your franchise. Do you pick Cam Newton?
It depends on what year are we talking about. Before the injury came or after?
Right now. Do you want Cam Newton as your football team as the face of your franchise?
That's not a fair question because I got to see how he looked after that shoulder. After he get that shoulder right, I got to see how it looked. If it looked good, I might say yes to that. Because we got to remember, my quarterback, now listen, I like my quarterback as of right now. Now, if we're talking about would I choose him over my quarterback, of course not. Because I like Lamar, actually, even though he done stuck it up the last 2 games. And, my defense is acting like they're nowhere to be found, but that's another story for another day.
Well, he didn't stick it up for 2 now. I mean, that first game, he looked good. It's just hard to – I mean, if he'd have played that game against anybody else, they'd have won.
Which one are we talking about?
They just happen to be going up against Patrick Mahomes and the Kansas City Chiefs. He plays that exact same game against anybody else, they win that game.
Yeah, I ain't gonna lie. But really, to be honest with you, it's because my defense couldn't stop nobody. They letting people run. I'm seeing people. It looks like a track meet. I see people running right down the middle. So I know if I can see them and I'm watching it, I know people on the field should be able to see that. Like, listen, you don't see him running right through the middle of the field? You just gonna let him go run through that? But, I mean, that's just the problem that we're going to have to fix. That my team has to get together, especially before the season is out. I'm starting to really get scared for my team because I just don't like where we are. But, of course, I'm a true fan. I'm not just somebody that says I'm a Ravens fan and talk about them when I get on. No. I'm a real fan. I've been there through the down years. No.
You mean like the Panthers fan? Like, I'm talking about you're a real fan as opposed to being like the Panthers fans,
Oh, yeah, of course not. Now,
hashtag keep pounding in Panther Nation.
Exactly.
And then Panther Nation vanishes when things go wrong.
Listen, I'm pounding when my boy loses. I don't care. But now the Panthers fan, they do that a lot though. It's hard to find them when they lose. I
personally know about 15 because they're Cowboys fans. It's the same type of fan base.
Now I'm gonna tell you
I literally know.
Do that. Them Cowboys fans take it to another level now. I'm sorry, they go overboard. I would rather have a Panthers fan than a Cowboys fan because I'm telling you, every year they go into the Super Bowl. Even if they go 0 for 13 next year, gonna be their year.
But that's the Cowboys.
This year. This year they done came up on some luck.
The Cowboys stake it up and go down in flames to Aaron Rodgers. And the only people who didn't know this was going to happen is Cowboys fans. 5 minutes after the game is over, in a game that they're the only people that didn't know they were going to lose it, we're going to win the Super Bowl next year, right?
Exactly.
I know about 17 people I can name off the top of my head who are Carolina Panthers fans until they start losing, and then they put the Cowboys get back on. Don't make me call them out.
Man, don't do them like that. They ain't
So-
do it. Listen, that's just terrible. That's too bad. Listen, I always said this. In order for me to, my blood pressure ain't good enough to be no Cowboys fan, because I'm talking about every week it would be up. Like, their game seems so boring to me. Like when I watch the Cowboys, like when I watched their whole game against the Saints, and really the game was boring. Honestly, I mean, like it got good at the end, but like don't nobody want to wait till the end till it get good. Like you want to.
Yeah. We'll get into that in a second. I want to ask you about the Ravens and the 2-game losing streak a little bit over, but we need to get our guests on. I got to ask you this too, though.
Yeah, we definitely do.
So you're basically saying that you would take Cam Newton on your football team.
Man, like I said, I'm not gonna answer that because I got to see how he looked with the shoulder in place. If the shoulder get in place, if he looked like the Cam that I used to know, I might take a chance on it.
Belichick wouldn't take Cam Newton. Neither would the Philadelphia Eagles. I'm not sure Sean McVay would take Cam Newton.
I don't know. Now you pushing it.
Would Pete Carroll take Cam Newton
over us?
That reminds me of a story. Remind me to tell you a story later about something I saw on Beast Mode. But Pete Carroll's not taking him. Let me tell you this though. I've said this over and over again, and I'll say it again. There have been 53 Super Bowls, Trail. There have been 53 losing quarterbacks in the Super Bowl. There's only been one who threw a temper tantrum and walked off the stage.
Man, listen, man. Everybody take losing differently, man. That's how I say that. Some people now see the thing that I don't like about that whole situation is you can't tell a person how to take defeat.
You can't.
They might take
when
defeat
he's the
differently.
quarterback, Terrell. He's the leader of the team. He's the face of the franchise. I saw Russell Wilson. Let me tell you Russell Wilson's story. Russell Wilson, I think it was last season, is driving the Seahawks down to win. He throws a pass that should have been caught. There's a brief 2 seconds where he puts his hands on both sides of his helmet, like, oh my God, I can't believe he dropped it. Then he remembers, I'm the face of the franchise. I got to be a little bit different. And he went back to being Russell Wilson. And then he talked this guy back up. Something I've always learned about competitive sports, you can always tell leadership by how the teammates and the coaches talk about them. Does anybody come to Cam Newton's defense? You can't play the black quarterback card 2 games before the Super Bowl, have the type of meltdowns he was having during media day. You could already tell he couldn't handle it. The stage was too big. He's getting irritated because they ask him the same questions over and over again. That happens at the Super Bowl. And then, in defeat, you don't get to be the black quarterback who was just talking about black quarterbacks and then perpetuate everything about black quarterbacks that they've been saying for the last 50 years in this country. You're proving them right.
All right,
You
I can
can't throw
see
a
that.
temper tantrum if you're the franchise quarterback, and that's why he would never be with Bill Belichick.
But this is what
That's
I'll
why
say.
you don't want to say that you don't want him on the Ravens.
This is what I'll say in return to that.
Okay.
Where your points were correct, we also have to understand there's growth in everybody. So
That's true.
I may be different. I may have walked off the stage too because at that time I wasn't in a place. We never know what his maturity level was at that time. So we have to understand there's growth in everybody, and everybody deserves a second chance. Now, who's to say? Because we also have to remember something. That was his first time being in that situation. Yes, he's played in national championship games. Yes, he's played on big stages. But this was the one thing we have to understand about kids that play professional sports, especially with the NFL or the NBA. They dream of moments like that. So when you get there, and for one, you don't win, like you don't. Every kid, you ain't never heard a kid say they dreamed about, and in the dream they lost. Nah, in every dream that kid had, they always was the one to win. So for one, we have to understand that it didn't turn out how he always dreamed it, for one. That's hard to take in. And for number two, all right, I'm already mad I didn't win, but not only am I mad I didn't win, I got to sit here and listen to y'all tell me I didn't win. Mm-hmm. And I got to listen to y'all read the stat sheet to me that shows me that I didn't win. And on top of that, we have to remember, in that game, not only did he get sacked a lot, but he also looked at a ball roll around, and he probably should have dived for it, and he never dived for it. So not that, but now I'm criticized because they saying I really didn't play to my full potential because I really didn't want it. So it's like they were questioning whether he really wanted to win at that time. So now I got all these things in my head, and I have to be the face of the franchise. Sometimes we have to understand that people are still human, because everybody that's in a bad spot, sometimes it's hard to especially in the spare of the moment. Now, when he sat down and he had time to think about it, he probably was like, man, I probably should have. I probably should have went up there and said something. But in the spare of the moment, it's like, bro, I'm not thinking about that.
Let me ask you a question, Trey, since we're on that subject. You're one of the smartest people I've ever met.
Well, thank you.
You know a lot of people. You know a lot of people, right?
Yeah.
Do you know people with children?
Yeah. Do
any of those children play sports?
I know a couple of my homeboys that got kids that play sports, yeah.
So they've experienced defeat while playing sports, right?
Yeah.
Did any of them throw a temper tantrum and walk off?
I mean, that depends on which one you're talking about, because I've had some where, yeah, they did, but because they're learning, they're in the learning stages, then, you automatically make them go shake their hand because you don't want your child to go with bad sportsmanship. So you have to teach them the right way to do it. But, I'm pretty sure, none of them have actually got to walk off and not shake nobody's hand because of you don't grow up trying to teach your child not to have great sportsmanship.
True.
That's not something you do.
True.
So, of course, you're going to make them, even if they don't want to, you're going to make them shake the other team's hand. Because
so don't you think it's sad that you know some 12 or 13-year-olds that could do that, but also know a franchise quarterback that couldn't do the same thing?
Listen, I mean, it is, but at the end of the day, the one thing we got to understand is it was the spare of the moment. So you just talked about this the other week. You said, I can't be woke up at 7:30 in the morning and people try me like that. That was a spare of the moment decision that you made. True. And it wasn't the right one, but after you thought about it, what you say, man, I feel bad.
I did.
So it's like that's what I'm saying. Sometimes we have to look at it as it's just the spare of the moment. And yes, he's gonna get criticized for it, and I wasn't knocking the people that criticize him because they right. Am I saying that it's okay for you to do it? No. But what I'm also telling people is let's look at both sides of it. If we're gonna criticize the man for being that kind of guy, we have to also remember that when we in those situations, sometimes you got to sweep around your own front door, because we also got to remember it's going to be moments where we're going to be caught in the spare of the moment, and we're not going to react in the way that we probably should.
That's a fair statement. Let's get in shape, man. Let's get in shape.
Let's do it.
Just Will, Rare Breed. I'm free. On the other side of that, we got a surprise for y'all.
Hey, yo, Will.
Hey, yo, what up, though, bruh?
You know how it says in the word, who the sun sets free is free indeed?
Yeah, man, I'm with you.
I look around and I see living proof in us, bruh.
Hey, let's go.
Ionosphere on the beat.
I'm free.
Free from addiction, free from the life that I used to display. Shout out to Ion for cooking this beat. We decided to slice it up like a fillet. The road that I travel is only one way. My faith is on lock, but it's not in the safe. Keep the word in me like every day. No, I'm not in hors d'oeuvre, but I be in the tray. Living this life and you know it. Not playing around, I was never a gamer. Times of the essence, this message is crucial. I'm driving the lane, not relying on faders. Plenty of haters, but I never listen. Like bread in the oven, my Jesus has risen. He gave up his life, that's how I'm forgiven. He's coming back soon, that's not just a prediction, man. Back in the day, I followed the masses. Now he's a potter on the clay cashes. So all I wanna do is go fish match it. He gave me the tools to turn the kid around ratchet. I believe it. If I say it, I mean it. Please forgive me, cause I know that I need it. We go harder when there's only one reason. We know you need blood like a tick on some leeches. Whole life I've been searching for an answer, but I avoided God like the plague or a cancer. And he still showed me mercy. Man, I don't understand it. But the chains have been broken, the shackles are shattered, the cell has been opened. Man, I've been set free, like Willie inside of the ocean. I've been delivered, so I'ma go hard when I'm repping the king.
Man, I'm so on that shape, put respect on his name, I'm so real with this thing.
No longer I'm empty, satisfied every one of my needs.
If you're walking with Jesus, enjoying his freedom, his goodness with me.
I've been delivered, so I'ma go hard when I'm repping the king.
Man, I'm so on that shape, put respect on his name, I'm so real with this thing.
No longer I'm empty, satisfied every one of my needs.
If you're walking with Jesus, enjoying his freedom, his goodness with me. I'm free to beat the beat until really sound different, probably thinking these some stitches. Yeah. To put a slug on the track, make them talk like, dang, bruh, he a Christian? Bringing bars, this is not a prison. Father, give him ears and make them listen. Jesus is God, it's my position. Sorry, rob for the way, but I was in the kitchen whipping up the trap for their attention. I'm free with the wealth thing. I ain't scared to be indifferent. I ain't gotta be a dope boy. Another black man across the way, they playing dummy for the system. I ain't gotta be a player. 2 fingers for the haters. They can smoke it up like a bonfire. Holy Spirit got me like a hang glider. But I know what it's like feeling trapped. Feeling like the walls are closing on me. A bunch of faces till I'm feeling lonely. Like if God is real, can't nobody show me. I'm free in Jesus now, I'm living for the risen. Brand new like the rappers on me. If the dudes surround me with them clappers, I don't fear the dude. His only trick is shaking life only. Let me break it down like a demolition. God came in the flesh, but they wouldn't listen. Running from the light, trying to live in the dark. Here's a thought, always slaves, always scared. I don't see the difference. What if the sun never came on the mission? In our own strength, we can't deal with us in it. It's only right to place faith in Christ. Don't be confused, just come holler at me.
I've been delivered to, I'ma go hard when I'm repping the king.
Man, I'm so under shape, put respect on his name. I'm so real with this thing.
No longer I'm empty, satisfied every one of my needs.
If you're walking with Jesus, enjoying his freedom, then scream this with me.
I've been delivered to, I'ma go hard when I'm repping the king.
Man, I'm so under shape, put respect on his name. I'm so real with this thing.
No longer I'm empty, satisfied every one of my needs.
If you're walking with Jesus, enjoying his freedom, then scream this with me.
Here come the crescendo.
All right, I'm back.
I'm free. Just will. Where breathe. Welcome back to the storm, where I just tricked Twirl into admitting that he knows some children that handle defeat better than Cam Newton. I did it.
All right.
AAU basketball, Little League baseball. 53 losing quarterbacks in the history of the Super Bowl. One of them threw a temper tantrum. And his time in Carolina, as sad as we ought to say this, has come to an end. You know who had to answer some questions after a horrible defeat in the Super Bowl? Russell Wilson. And perhaps the worst play call in the history of sports. All the Seattle Seahawks had to do is hand the ball to beast mode. 4 straight times. Probably not even 4. They'd have gotten the end zone. But they wanted Russ to be the hero. This is what I was watching the other day, Trail. I saw an interview, and I'm going to shoot you the footage when we're done here. Beast Mode is talking about that last play called in the Super Bowl. There have always been rumors that the Legion of Boom respected Russell Wilson but didn't really like him. Now, I can't verify whether that's factual or incorrect, so if I'm wrong, don't get mad at me. But those are the stories I've heard, and I'm sure that everybody else has heard some of the same stories.
I've heard them. Mm-hmm. Heard them.
Beast Mode should have been the hero, but that's not what Seattle wanted. That's not what Pete Carroll wanted. He wanted to look out for his guy, Russell Wilson. They call a play, and Beast Mode said everybody in the huddle looked at him like, really? You know how that ended up, right?
Right.
We're going to get into that a little bit later because that's a very interesting conversation piece. But we got a guest on tonight, and I'm very excited about it. Who we got, Trey?
Like I was telling y'all earlier, man, this is my brother. I call him my brother because every time I see him, he always empowering me with something. And he took it to another level with this one because, you know, I've watched his journey from afar when it comes to the whole training situation. So now he's become a personal trainer. And he going to just enlighten us tonight. It's none other than my brother, Lamar Strait. But we call him Big Rob in the fitness world.
How y'all doing?
Welcome to the storm. Welcome to the storm. Welcome to the storm.
Glad to be here.
What's going on, bro? So, first of all, man, how you doing, man? How life been treating you, man? How you doing?
Life has been amazing, man. It is what it should be. As long as you're working towards, like, progressing, I definitely have a great feeling about everything that's going on in life right now. I hope y'all are doing good, too.
Yes, sir. Yes,
wonderful,
sir.
brother. Wonderful. Appreciate you coming on. This is the question I got for you right off the bat. I'm going to throw you right into the fire here.
All right, let's go.
How difficult is it to get? There's no nice way. There's no clean cut way to say this. Our people can be lazy sometimes. We like to eat. We like cookouts. We like family get-togethers. We like working out a whole lot less. How hard is it to get somebody to join what you're doing? Hire you as a personal trainer and stick with it?
I think the easiest thing in that situation is to lead by example. I feel like a lot of times people are more inclined to follow what you're saying if you're living what you're trying to preach to them. So practicing what you preach plays a major factor in it. So if they have a high exposure to your dedication, sometimes good and bad habits can rub off on people. So if you can find somebody that has an interest, no matter how big or small it is, if you can play on that interest and you can show them the discipline and show them what they should be doing, a lot of people will fall in line with that. Now, there are some exceptions to the rule. I'm not saying that it's 100%. It always works. Sometimes you have people that say they want to go, but they don't have the dedication to go. Some people will go, and even while they're there, they're still battling within themselves to figure out what they want to do and how they want to do it. I feel like the easiest thing to do in those situations is just to have a simple conversation with people. A lot of times, trainers or nutritionists feel like they know everything, when in fact, you may know everything that may work for you, but what works for you may not work for somebody else. So I feel like having the conversation, figuring out a way to bring a certain degree of emotion into it to where they feel attached to what they're trying to achieve. That's just like with any relationship, like if as simple as like your wife, your husband, anybody, we all have relationships, and it all depends on how much you value that relationship, how much you're attached to it. So if I can find out a way of playing on what their emotional attachment is to trying to get involved with bettering themselves, I can help them with like sticking to it.
How'd you get into this?
Well, I started about 6 years ago. There's a lot of different ways. I kind of played around in the gym years ago when I was like 18, 19. So that was really the foundation of like trying to better myself physically. It wasn't anything about trying to become the healthiest version. I just wanted to look good. But then I kind of lost my way with that, and I gained a lot of weight. So I went from being in shape almost all of my life into being out of shape. And then I just found out I had a son. I wanted to be able to run, jump, do all the things that active fathers can do with their children. So that was one of the biggest things. And then the whole thing of like, I don't know if you've ever ran into somebody before. There's one of two things that can happen when you run into somebody that you haven't seen in a couple of years. They can say, "Oh man, you look great," or "Oh man, you fell off." And way too often I was running into people and the look on their face was like, "Oh man, you fell off." Nobody wants to see that. When you see somebody you haven't seen in a while, you want to see that spark in their face. Like, "Oh, you look amazing. You look like this. You look just like you did when you were 18, 19, even though maybe 5 or 6 years have passed since you've been that age."
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Now, when you say fall off, what kind of describe that a little bit? Are you talking about the way you just look physically, or are you talking about something that read in your face and your mannerisms? Or what does that look like?
So when I say fall off, I mean like all together. So I feel like physical, spiritual, and mental health all play a major factor in living a healthy lifestyle. So what happened was my aunt had died about 2 years prior to that. So after that, I wasn't going to the gym. I wasn't taking care of myself. I wasn't eating right. I wasn't putting the right things into myself, mentally or spiritually, anything. So eventually I started climbing out of that. So I wasn't eating right. And when you're younger, you can pretty much eat whatever you want to eat. But as you start to grow older, your metabolism starts to slow down. And I wasn't slowing down with what I was eating. Like you were saying, I was going to the cookouts. I was going to any buffet that would have me. I was going
probably right in there with
everywhere.
You. Yes, sir.
I had no shame. I had no shame. And then you're starting to realize your clothes don't fit the way they're supposed to.
That's
and
true,
you have to keep going up in your belt size. And but that food's still good, though. Food is good to you. Yeah. I think food was the most consistent thing that I had going on in my life because I usually tell people don't do this, but when I was mad, I would go eat. When I was happy, I would go eat. When I was sad, I would go eat. think about it like when you're a kid. What's the first thing your parent does if you just get like a good grade? Well, at least in my household, it's like, hey, let's go celebrate by getting food.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sad if you go to a funeral, what do they bring you? They bring you big plates of food. If you're sad, somebody's like, hey, let's go out and eat. Let's go get your mind off of things. So food was the only consistent thing I had going on.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sound about right. Man, for me, I want to, not answer all that. So let's fast forward to now. What is your go-to healthy meal? Like, what can you say? I eat this a lot, and it's healthy for you.
I got about 5 of those. When I first started, I was really basic and plain. I would eat chicken breast, broccoli, and brown rice every day. I'm a creature of habit, so I can legitimately eat the same thing every day for a year, and it doesn't bother me. But if I get off cycle, it takes me a while to get back on it. But So right now, I do a grilled chicken, Mexican bowl similar to Chipotle, grilled chicken thighs, peppers, onions, black beans, some guacamole, low-fat sour cream, some shredded cheese. That's probably my number 1. My number 2 is some pulled chicken, put it in the crock pot for maybe like an hour, just let it sit. And there's this low sugar barbecue sauce that I use. I'll get some spinach or I'll get broccoli, and I'll bake some sweet potatoes, and I turn that into a bowl too. So I feel like it's really easy to just incorporate bowls. That you got like a base. The base would be like the sweet potatoes. Throw the chicken on top of it. Throw the spinach on there too. Spice it up. Throw some onions in there. Another one I like to do is an Asian bowl, to where I'll do like some honey chicken, dice up some boneless chicken thighs, put some carrots, spinach, or broccoli, some brown rice. Sometimes I do sweet potatoes for that too. Some baked chicken wings, sweet potatoes. I usually try to keep my base of always having 1 complex carb, 1 greens, and 1 meat. Occasionally, I'll switch it up, just like that Mexican bowl. It has a couple of different vegetables and some carbs in there. And then there's, I like to do cauliflower rice. I do that as like an Asian bowl as well. It's a little different. Instead of doing sweet potatoes, I use the cauliflower rice, or I'll just dice up some cauliflower. Basically, you can swap anything in with that. I do a lot of like boneless grilled chicken and stuff. But those are just a few of them.
Cauliflower rice. That's a real thing.
Hold on. Let me get him real quick. Let me get him real quick. I got a question for you, brother. Because I was when I was we friends for real. So I was scrolling through my Facebook one day, and I seen this meal you had put together, and I want you to talk to me about this. It was baked wings with lemon pepper dry rub and sweet potato wedges. How did that come out? Like, I don't know. I've never had this.
I'm interested in that too, because the whole thing for me would have just been wings, and they probably would have been fried. That's the meal. And
then he used the dry rub. So tell me about that. How did you come up on that?
Well, what I like to do is so when I go to the grocery store, I look at a bunch of different spices. So whenever I see something that I think would be a good combination with one another, so I'll tell you a secret to making baked wings. So what I always do is I get a little bit of lemon juice and I get a little bit of vinegar. And for whatever reason, that combination will make those wings taste like they were fried, but they weren't fried. Still gonna be baked. And I just like the taste of lemons. I'm big into sour stuff, but it doesn't translate into being sour when you make the food. It actually gives it a different consistency. So I was playing around with the lemon juice one day. I was like, oh, you know what? I'm just going to add some pepper, start adding some garlic, some salt, and all that. And it came out pretty good. The most surprising thing that I like to do is the sweet potato fries. I like potatoes, but the more I was reading, I was like, well, the regular potatoes, like those golden potatoes, aren't really that good for you. And if you're going to have a potato, the best one for you would be the sweet potatoes. Throw a little bit of cinnamon on it and some sugar. Bro, I'm telling you, it's good. I know you done had a sweet potato pie. This is your healthy version of a sweet potato pie. with no extra sugar.
What was the reasoning? Because Because that's very interesting. What was the reasoning behind sweet potatoes being more healthy for you?
There's more nutritional value in the sweet potatoes, and it digests in your body a lot slower than the complex potato. That's just like with like white bread and wheat bread. When your body processes white bread, it processes as a simple sugar, and it goes in and out of you really quick. With a complex carb or a complex sugar, it's going to take a lot more time for your body to digest it, so you get the feeling of being fuller for a lot longer. So it does more for you. So you're burning, sometimes with certain foods, you can burn calories while you're eating them. Something that's going to take longer to digest is going to take longer to burn. So that would be something that would take longer to burn in you.
If you tuned in late, you're listening to Lamar Strait. We call him Big Rob. Rob, give me your social media, your Twitter, the name of your company, cell phone numbers, Instagrams, Snapchats, whatever they need to do to get in contact with you.
All right, you guys can follow me at Our Health Matters on Instagram. That's the same as it is on Facebook as well. So that's Our Health Matters _, and that's the same for my Facebook.
Now that's the letter R or O-U-R?
O-U-R,
okay.
HELTH.
Got you right here, right now. Okay, I'm with you. So let's go back in time here, man. I'm gonna take you back in time to like the days of Hungry Hippo and Atari.
All right, let's go.
Young Lamar Strait. Where you from? Where you from? Were you interested in high school? Would you consider yourself a nerd, an athlete? What was young Lamar like?
Young Lamar was lazy. Young Lamar was very lazy. Young Lamar had an amazing family. One of my highlights of my childhood, and anybody that knew me growing up knew that my aunt liked to go out to eat. My aunt never gained any weight, but I gained her weight and my weight every time we went out to eat. She would take me out to go to like McDonald's and all this different stuff. And as a kid, I'm thinking, oh man, this is amazing. Like all my other friends are jealous. Like, your aunt takes you out to eat everywhere. I didn't really know much about I knew about fitness, but I didn't know anything about the nutritional side of it. I didn't have broccoli for the first time until I was like 21. But I was a good athlete, but like I was saying, being a lazy athlete, I wasn't really dedicated to anything. So I wouldn't commit to anything. I would say as a child or a teenager, I was afraid of commitment. And I think a lot of times that happens because we don't want to fail. Like, what if I give my all and my all isn't good enough? Like, I don't want to walk away with that feeling. So I had a great childhood, though. I had friends, a lot of different friends growing up. I had a very diverse group of friends. I had some nerds. I hung out with some athletes. I hung out with a little bit of everybody. I was like a social butterfly growing up. So, yeah, that's just a little bit of my background.
Would you consider yourself kind of laid back and reserved, or you said you could pretty much mix in all the circles? Were you more sociable back then, or what?
Well, I think I wouldn't say I was more sociable then from now. I'm more selective on who I associate with, because I feel like the things that you allow into your mind and your spirit can be infectious. I think negative energy. I think of negative energy like as the flu. I try to surround myself with people, with like-minded people that try to stay positive, that have things going on with their lives. I heard a pastor say this about 10 years ago. He said, you could be in an all-white suit and you could be associating with people that are living in a pigpen. Like, it's dirty around you. So no matter how white you want to keep your suit, if you're hanging out with people that are dirty, eventually that dirt's going to rub off on you. So back then I wasn't as selective. I would talk to anybody. I socialize with people on a high level. It's just I'm more selective on who I have conversations with.
Makes total sense.
I kind of want to get into the company you was just talking about, man. How did that come about? The Our Health Matters. How did that come about, man?
Well, originally I was calling my fitness program just Fit Rob, and I thought that was really generic and boring. And I was just sitting there, and a lot of times, like, or at least with me, when I'm brainstorming, it's like I want to think of something right then and there, but it's sometimes you have to wait a little bit and something will come to you, and that's the best idea you've had. And I had to wait, and it took me a couple of weeks, and eventually it's like I want it to be something organic. I want it to be something that I would actually say, and I'm big on trying to better my community, so the hour would incorporate all of us, and all I really talk about normally within the gym field is about health. And I think, like I was saying, there's 3 different branches of health. It's not just about being able to pick up heavy things. You have to be able to get through tough mental battles and tough spiritual battles, where there's always going to be something that's going to test you. And I feel like you don't really know what your limits are until your limits have been pushed. So I felt like that name incorporates all of it, and I can piggyback and talk about different things of health, and it doesn't just have to be about like physical health. Because I know a lot of times when you talk, that's all they talk about to you is, oh, hey, I want you to be strong, I want you to be fast, I want you to lose weight, I want you to look like this, I want you to have your body fat percentage of that. But there's a whole nother side to that, because yeah, you can lose the weight, but if you're still damaged mentally, you're still always going to be that overweight person. You can lose the weight, but if you don't have faith in God or have faith in something, you're still going to be that damaged person you were before. So I want to help you build everything. So that way, when you walk away from me, you can say that he helped me achieve something that was bigger than just looking nice.
What was the biggest challenge in putting everything together?
What was the biggest challenge?
Yeah.
The biggest challenge is I've had people lose weight, but they didn't lose the negative attitudes they had towards themselves. So they can look, but when they're looking themselves in the mirror, they still that 300-pound person they were before.
Yeah.
Wow. Man, you helping somebody, man.
You definitely
are. Because I'm telling you, a lot of times that happens to people. And I've seen it on so many different occasions where they'll lose the weight, but they'll always reference back to how they used to be. The one thing that I pride myself on is no matter what, any situation, that's whether it be health or just life itself, you always have to find the positive in every situation, in every aspect of your life. And here's why. Because most of the time, when you reflect on the bad, you be like, dang, you honestly can forget that there may be somebody out there that's worse off than you. So when you look at it, you also have to understand, I may not be where I want to be, but I'm a long way from where I used to be. And that's what people got to get. That's what they got to get in their mind. So, man, you definitely helping people when you stand with the thing that you preaching to them tonight, bro. I appreciate it.
Lamar, let me ask you this, though. I'm going to redirect the question at you, too, though, because I'm a little slow, bro. Every time I hear attitude, I think, when I hear attitude, I think arrogance. I keep using arrogance and attitude synonymously. And I don't want to put words in your mouth, so I'm redirecting the question. So basically what I'm getting from you is some of these attitudes come from a defeatist mentality. So it was defeatism that got them to overweight in the first place or out of that element. And then even after they go through a workout regimen or different type of eating, they come right back to this because of a different type of negative mindset. Is that what you're saying?
I agree. Because I think that sometimes people, and it's weird to say this, but I think sometimes people become comfortable with being uncomfortable. Like they've been doing something for so long. Like I know everybody knows somebody that's in a bad marriage. They've probably been married 50 or 60 years. And it's like, I hate my husband. I hate my wife. And then you ask them, why are you still married? And they can't give you an honest answer as to why. But in the back of their head, they know they've become comfortable with being uncomfortable. So, but they haven't realized what they need to do to change. And I think that's the first thing. That's the first conversation I have with somebody is like, we got to lose the negative mindset. And if you lose that negative mindset and that negative view on how you look at yourself, even if that scale doesn't move 5 pounds, like, well, hey, I didn't lose 5 pounds this week, but I lost 5 negative thoughts that I had about myself. And if I can build myself up mentally, I can achieve anything because your body can achieve anything your mind tells it to do. It's just a matter of you telling your body, hey, we got to do this. We have to be disciplined enough to get up. We have to get out. We got to figure something out.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, sir, man. Yes, sir. That's good stuff.
Have you
stuff,
ever seen, because we talk about the success stories and everything, I haven't personally witnessed this. I'm asking you because you're the expert on this, so I'm learning from you in this situation. Have you ever been witness to a situation where you see the turnaround and you don't see the positive come with it? And I'm talking about things other than just, they couldn't get over this defeatism and they went right back to the same habits they used to have. Do you ever see the turnaround and there's still some negative?
So you mean like, have I seen somebody lose the weight and still have a negative attitude towards themselves?
That, and also too, I have never seen somebody, because I'm listening to everything you're saying. You were talking about the mental and the health all being connected and things of that nature. And I believe that. That's why when we work out, we feel better. If I can say that. But
right.
Have you ever been witness to a situation where you see somebody turn it around, they're looking better, they're in better shape, and they still just don't seem to be turning that corner? Are you seeing that?
Oh, yeah. I've seen that plenty of times. I've seen people look amazing, but underneath all of that, they still move around like they're that damaged person or the overweight person that they felt wasn't beautiful because they were 5 or 10 pounds overweight. And it really all just boils down to how you see yourself. Because I know some people that are overweight, but they're like fly. Like, they don't let the fact that they're 100 pounds overweight make them feel bad at all. Because like, it's like, hey, look, I'm fat. I love it. You gonna love it. What's up?
So let's do this. We're going to take a break here. We're going to play a little bit of music. We're going to get right back into it with our guests. I feel like an FM DJ. Ladies and gentlemen, KD7, Have Faith. We'll be right back with you.
Y'all ready? Let's go. Sometimes I wish I could fly. I'll try, and I'll try, yeah, until I get it right, even when it's hard. I'll try, 'cause I have faith in my God. Oh, 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 oh. I'll try, 'cause I have faith in my God. Don't let them take your mind away, because there's something greater along the way. Life or death, which one do you claim? I'll play neither, because this ain't no game. Let go. Violence of violence causes more violence. Silence of silence causes more silence. You provide an offense. Now it's time for defense. You'll have to fight this. Whoa, no more denying. Sometimes I wish I could fly, and I'll try, and I'll try, yeah, until I get it right, even when it's hard. I'll try, 'cause I have faith in my God. Oh, 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 oh. I'll try, 'cause I have faith in my God. I can't imagine a life with no passion, no. Learning and comprehension, that's my type of fashion. I don't want no mention, no. 'Cause all I want is my Lord's presence. Sometimes I wish I could fly, and I'll try, and I'll try. cause I have faith in my God. I'll try, cause I have faith in my God. Now you realize the size of my fight inside. Step up and take your prize. Whoa, whoa. Now you have faith. Have faith in God's light. Sometimes I wish I could fly. I'll try, and I'll try, yeah, until I get it right, even when it's hard. I'll try, cause I have faith in my God.
KD7, Have Faith on the Storm. Love that record, man. Love that record. We've been talking to our homeboy Lamar Strait here on the Storm. We got my main man Trail here with me.
Always.
It's crazy stuff, man. From the Thunderstorm mailbag. Are you saying that the Legion of Boom didn't like Russell Wilson? And what are you basing your facts off of? Now, Trail, I thought we went into that conversation.
We did. You did. I knew you was going there. You said it. You did. And now see, there we go. I knew it.
Okay. Because I had this same situation last night. What ended up happening last night was, I'm not going to get into it, but people tend to, how do I say this nicely? People will often read the headline of the story and begin making comments on social media. And 9 times out of 10, Trail, the issue I have is a lot of what they're complaining about or what they think they're schooling me on is something I've said in the article. Got to read past the headline, people. And you can't come into a conversation that's been going on for 15 minutes. And I ain't got no words for it, man. I just...
Definitely.
All right. If you tune in late, we've been blessed to be talking to our homeboy here. We got my man. I'm just reading some of the comments, man. I'm sorry. I'm back with it now. All right, we've been hanging out with our homeboy Lamar Strait, a.k.a. Big Rob, CEO. We like CEOs on the Storm, man. CEO of Our Health. Make sure you give them the social media again, just in case they missed it. Go ahead and give me your social media, your Twitter, your Instagram, everything. We got Lamar.
Yeah, he should be.
Okay.
Lamar, you there now?
We got Lamar on the Sunstorm hotline.
He was there a second ago. Give me 1 second. He's still there.
Go ahead and get him back on.
Nah, he's still there. He ain't left.
Yeah, I'm here. I'm back.
There you go.
Okay, just making sure we got you. So we were before we went to break, man. Some of y'all tuning in and hit me up, asking me what's going on. Okay, this is the situation. Y'all know I spend a lot of time up doing nothing. My days consist of waiting on a story to pop. We spin the story. We publish the story. Those are pretty much my days. I mix in a little lunch there. I'm blessed to do what I do. And then a lot of times what we end up doing is I can spend a lot of time getting stuck on. I pick on people who do a lot of social media, maybe to an extent where it becomes addictive. And I pick on people who get on reality television. Y'all know I pick on reality television fans. But I'm addicted to YouTube. I have like 7,000 subscriptions. I've tapped the bell on every single one of them. So I get all the notifications. So I have no idea what my timeline is going to look up. But to make long story short, there was something I was watching, and I'll drop the link later on the Twitter and on Thunderstorm Media on Facebook. Now, I will have to advise y'all, it's Thunderstorm Media, so I have to preface this by saying it's Marshawn Lynch. So some of his answers to some of the questions, which is why I haven't posted it already, some of his answers to some of the questions contain a lot of profanity. But part of the story was that final call in the second Super Bowl, which would have given the Seattle Seahawks 2 Super Bowls in a row. There's a play call. I'm sure every single one of you know what the play call was. But this was the vibe. If I remember it correctly, because once again I'm going off the dome, there was a handoff from Russell Wilson to Marshawn Lynch on first down. It seemed like he took the ball about 8 yards, and he was down at about the 2-yard line, making it 2nd and goal from the 2-yard line.
Right.
The Patriots are gassed. Conventional wisdom tells you, if we give it to Bismo 3 more times, we getting in. We might get that on 2nd down. And to be honest with you, Trey, if I'm the head coach of the Seattle Seahawks, I don't do a lot of things right. But I'm winning or losing the Super Bowl by handing the ball off to Beast Mode 4 times.
Right. Because at that point, I don't think there was a man alive that could stop him 4 times from getting in there.
If we don't get in, nobody can complain about what we did. Because everybody in the stadium and everybody at home is saying, give Beast Mode the ball. They didn't. The play call came in. Everybody in the huddle. There are 11 people in the huddle. Russell Wilson made the call. 9 men looked at Marshawn Lynch like, what are we doing? And we preface that because part of the vibe with the Legion of Boom and Russell Wilson and why dynasties never seem to last as long as it seemed like they should, there was a bit of some discontent there. Stories I've heard, stories I've read, some of them from credible sources, some of them not so much. Some of them are friends of mine who cover teams in New York, and they're talking about a team in Seattle. So how they know this, I don't know. But the vibe is there were members of the Legion of Doom who had a different type of personality, and they could vibe with Marshawn Lynch because he was like us. Russell Wilson was not. But Pete Carroll loved Russell Wilson. And the Seattle Seahawks organization loves Russell Wilson. Because if you notice, Michael Bennett's gone. Richard Sherman is gone. Everybody's gone except Russell Wilson. The goal was to make him the hero in the Super Bowl. We can live with Russell Wilson being a hero. We don't really want Marshawn Lynch to be the hero. And that was all said by 9 men looking at him in the huddle when the play call came in, and the play call was for a slant pattern, which got picked off. It's interesting to talk about. All right, so back on the Thunderstorm hotline, we got a homeboy, Lamar Strait. We were getting into a little bit of everything, enjoying the conversation. We were talking about attitudes. We were talking about diet, things of that nature. And as I'm listening to this brother talk, it's always good to talk to intelligent people, Trail, but they're good in pros and cons to both of this. And Mr. Strait, I hope you take this as a compliment, but I'm making a long story longer to make a point here. The long and the short of it is this. When you talk to intelligent people and it's good conversation, especially when you're talking about somebody who clearly knows more about what they talk about than you, every single point that they make sends your mind in 9 different directions. So every 2 or 3 sentences, I'm thinking about 7 more things I would ask you.
Yeah, exactly.
And I don't know which question to ask, but I do want to ask you this. The mind is a very powerful thing for me. It's very interesting to me. And I've always been interested in how the mind works. Many of my friends told me I should have been a psych major. I was not. I found psychology interesting. I often went to some psychology courses with friends of mine who were actually taking the class, and I was just going just because I was interested. I was a nerd, by the way. But I don't know what it's called, but there's a sense that lies in a whole lot of people. And what that is, if I can explain it, I would say there's an issue and it's deep rooted and it lies in this person. And in this person's issues, rather than dealing with the core of the issue, they focus on other things to make it look better. Like, the car doesn't run. Let's just go outside and wash it and put some rims on it. So it's going to be a trash engine, but it's going to look good. We're going to buy a big house, but we're not going to have any furniture in it because we really can't afford this house. But on a human standpoint, this is one of them. Men who are depressed, men who are at their wits' end, men who have clearly some issues, and rather than focusing on the core, they just go hit the weights. And I'm going to give you some names. LL Cool J, 50 Cent, Arnold Schwarzenegger. I read Arnold Schwarzenegger's biography, and a lot of the reason he got into the Mr. Universes and all that in the first place was because he was a train wreck as a person and didn't like who he was. But rather than fix who he was, he focused on the outer appearance and making himself look better. There's no bigger LL fan than me. But I look at LL sometimes and I'm brother, what is this brother thinking about? And I wonder if LL don't have some issues, because a lot of what we know about him is he was inspired by his mother. He was inspired by his grandmother. That's where the whole title Mama Said Knock You Out came from. He got that because grandmama told him to knock out the competition. And I can't verify this, but it seems in reading his autobiography, LL didn't have a lot of male influences around. So what we keep seeing, Mr. Strait, is a lot of men in our community who have a feminist perspective, and rather than focus on their masculinity, they go out and do things to look more masculine, but it's not helping them on the inside. Which explains why 50 Cent is so, with no disrespect to women, kind of girly. And it could explain why LL has always been so sensitive. LL can find the smallest comment somebody takes in a 16-bar verse. He can find 3 words and think it's an attack on him. So LL went and got bigger instead of stop being so sensitive. I said all that to say this. You're an intelligent brother. You talk to me so much, and one of the things I like about you is the whole point of what you said is, and I don't want to put words in your mouth, but you're getting to know all these clients individually. You're learning about their individual diets. You learn about their individual patterns. Is this a real condition that I'm describing, in your opinion? Or am I reading too much into this, number one? And number two, if this is a real condition, what would have been the better solution other than just going to hit the weights?
I think what you're describing is something that is real. That's just like, I don't know if you guys have seen When They See Us yet, the documentary that's on the Exonerated Five, Part 5. Okay, one of the brothers that's there, I can't remember his name off the top of my head, but he's the dark-skinned brother with the beard. He said that he went to the gym to release his demons, and he was a very small person going into jail, so I can only imagine that he went through a lot of traumatic things. And physically, he didn't have the strength to overcome some of the things that he probably would have been able to handle if he was a little bit bigger. So he tried to build himself and become stronger, faster, a bigger, stronger, faster version of himself, so he could fight things if he was to be encountered with something. So his first reaction would be to physically harm somebody because he had been through such a traumatic situation. He wasn't able to defend himself when he was younger, so he compensated for it when he got older. I think the thing that you were describing is real. I think a lot of times that if if you feel like people will perceive you to be something differently just because of your outer appearance, you're gonna try to make yourself do what you feel like you need to do to avoid being damaged or hurt. And that's with anything. I think the two situations that you described to the extent that you did, I feel like those are isolated situations that I won't apply as if it is a normalized thing.
Okay.
Because I think sometimes you can look at somebody that's 7'1", and if you have a group of them in the same room, you're like, oh man, everybody's gonna be 7'1" that's here, but that's not true to fact. Because if you put everybody in the same bubble just because they have the same characteristics, that doesn't mean that applies to everybody that's in search of bettering themselves. That just applies to those people. And I think there's a deeper background with some of the stuff with like LL Cool J. Now, you said that he, instead of dealing with his issues, he used the gym as an outlet. But I think that's one of the best things that you can do, not running away from your problems. But let's say if you and your wife got into an argument, or if you and your mother, or anybody that you're close with got into an argument, what's the first thing that most like therapists teach you to do is to take a step back, reflect, and then come back to it with a calm mind.
Absolutely.
So usually when somebody goes to the gym, they're like, hey, I want to get my frustration out. I want to take all of my anger out there, which is basically a version of filtering your thought. Like if you were to talk to your mother, you're not going to talk to her the same way you would talk to one of your friends in the streets. You filter what you say to her, even if you're trying to send the same message to your mother that you gave to your friend. Why do you do that? You do that out of respect. So if you have issues that you need to deal with internally, the best way for you to get to where you need to go is to filter out what you need to do and what you don't need to do. And usually the first reaction to somebody saying something that you're not comfortable with is anger. And usually if you're angry at somebody, what's the first thing you're taught to do in our community? You have to address everything with physical altercation. So I have to fight you because you said something that I don't agree with. I can't use my words. So if my first instinct is to fight you because you said something I don't agree with, what do I need to do? I need to find out something that I can do to take the aggression out of me so I can come back to it from a calm state of mind, so we can actually have an intellectual conversation. And maybe what you're saying is something I need to hear, but just because the way that you packaged it to me, I wasn't able to receive it. Like if you have a gift, a wonderful gift that you want to give to somebody, if the packaging is trash, they won't open that gift sometimes. So if you prepare a meal or you prepare a gift a certain way, prepare it with care, somebody's more inclined to accept it.
Yes,
I want you to, good gracious, stop the music.
Yes,
stop the music.
Yes, sir. Yes,
Stop the
sir.
music.
Yes, sir.
I want complete silence on this one. I need you to go back, Mr. Strait, approximately. Gosh, I'm about to tell y'all how old I am. I was about to say hit the rewind. I need you to go back about 90 seconds now in that conversation. Say that one more time. You got the package to give for. I can't even say. You say it. Go ahead.
It's all about how you give something to somebody. So if you want them to receive it, you got to make sure what you're packaging, it looks like you put some time and some effort into it, and they're more inclined to receive it. If you're just wanting to, you may have some facts behind what you're saying, but if it ain't presented the right way, people are going to shut it down. They're not going to be receptive towards it. So if you have a message and you feel like it's a message that's going to help somebody, package it a certain way so they're more inclined to open up that gift.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
That's definitely a bomb moment right there.
Yes, sir.
That's definitely a bomb moment. Good gracious, drop another one. Drop it for no reason. Just go ahead.
Yes, sir.
Woo!
That's a good stuff, man.
We are putting a manual together on the storm. And I'm about to pick your brain here for a second. I'm about to ask for some free advice that I should be paying you for. The listeners got your back, by the way. And I do want to apologize because I said our health earlier. The listener's on top of me. He's the CEO of Our Health Matters. So I apologize for that. That's definitely my error. But let me respectfully ask you this. And like I said, I'm about to pick your brain and get some free advice on something that I probably should be paying you for. There's that entrepreneurial spirit that lives in everybody, but some people don't know how to tap into. If I can ask you, because I don't want to put words in your mouth. I don't want to say something you're not saying. So the long and the short, Mr. Strait, is this. You probably got tired of going to work and decided I want to do something that's going to make me money that's fulfilling, right?
Well, it's deeper than that.
It's deeper than that. Okay, go ahead.
One of my friends told me, and I still hold this true to right now. He said, if you love what you're doing, you're willing to do it for free. And I genuinely enjoy what I do.
Yeah.
That's just like if you were able to get some jumper cables and you have two cars. One car's battery is dead. I'm giving somebody the spark back for life. I want you to be able to look at yourself and like, man, I feel good about myself.
Wow.
And initially it may be from me giving you that spark, but in order for you to keep your engine running, you got to keep putting gas in your own tank. Like, I want to start you, but I want you to finish the journey on your own. Like, you can ride with me as long as you need to, but eventually you're going to start thinking this stuff for yourself. Like, when you wake up in the morning, I love me. I'm doing good. I'm better than I was yesterday, and I'm going to improve for tomorrow. I do think that money does play a factor in it. If I could do it for free, I would do it for free. But because my time is valuable, I have to be compensated for my time. And if
Absolutely.
I'm going to do something that involves time, I want to make sure I'm doing something that I enjoy. So I do work a 9 to 5, and I'm not saying I hate my job, but it's not where my passion lies. And I feel like Malcolm X said it best. Sometimes you shouldn't comment on things you don't have compassion towards. So I don't spend my time talking about how I dislike my job. I talk about how I'm going to make my job work for me, and it's going to allow me to do different things that I do enjoy. So I work that 9 to 5, and I give it my all. And when I get outside of that, that's me. So I'm a boss. See, I'm a CEO and I'm a boss, but I also am an employee of somebody else. And I'm going to be that employee until I can completely be 100% my own boss. And everything has a job, and everything has a role to play. The job that I'm working right now is going to play a role in me being able to be, and me being able to cash a 6-figure check in the next 10 to 15 years. But that's part of the process, and I trust the process. And a lot of people say they want to be this and they want to be that, but you don't look at the days you got to scrub toilets. You don't look at the days you got to do things that you don't want to do. You might got to pick through trash. You might got to do some things that you aren't comfortable with. But you got to realize that sometimes in order to be successful, you have to be uncomfortable with some of the things that you're doing in order to get to that place to where you have that stability and you're comfortable with everything you do.
Got to definitely agree with you there. Got to definitely agree with you there. Because to kind of borrow what you're saying, piggyback on top of that, we want that progression, we want that progress, but we don't want the process that goes along with it. So definitely appreciate you sharing that with us right there. So my thing is this. There are a lot of people that don't know this, Mr. Strait. So I'm basically going to ask you because they can share my experiences or my opinions on how this works. What does this look like? Where does the transition come from? How does one go from the employee mindset to the boss type of mentality? How does one go from being comfortable with the grind, as you would say, and then stepping out on faith? What I know what that looks like for me. I'm interested in how that looks for you.
I think that mentality is in you from the start. Like, it's just you figuring out how to tap into it. I'll give you an example. When I was like 6 years old, like, I didn't understand what hustle was, but I understood that I wanted to make money. And I wasn't old enough to get a job, and I wasn't able to cut grass or anything yet. So I started making sandwiches. And I made a menu, and I still have that menu to this day. And it was like different prices for like sandwiches and sodas and all that. I got a loan from my grandma, so she gave me a little bit of money. So, so with that loan, that short-term loan that I got from her, I invested in some products. The product was the food. And I wanted to be able to flip that money to make double what I had got from her so I could give her money back and I could still have money to go buy my snacks and stuff. So that's hustle. Sometimes you're hustling and you don't even know what you're doing. And I put that menu together. I sold those. Well, actually, I had one cousin that admired my hustle. He's like, hey, man, I see you out here trying to sell these sandwiches. He bought all of the sandwiches, and that was it. And I doubled up on everything that I had spent, gave my grandma back her money, and went out and did what I had to do. So I feel like sometimes it's about you tapping into what you're good at. Sometimes we want to – I've met somebody that wanted to become a lawyer, but they had the talent to become a singer, and they didn't want to tap into that because they wanted to go a different route. I think sometimes the things that you're your best at comes to you easiest, and those are the things you need to learn how to develop to become better at it. Like some people have natural talent at certain things that they don't want to tap into because that's not where they feel like they want to go in life. But when I first started off, I didn't know that I wanted to become a trainer. I just knew that I enjoyed going to the gym, and then sometimes people see your dedication and they admire it. So whenever they talk to you, that's all they want to talk to you about. And eventually you start having conversations, you become more comfortable with directing people, and then you just slowly transition into something that you never thought that you were going to be doing, and then you just start to excel at it because you develop a passion for it. I feel like you can develop certain things that you maybe didn't think that you were going to want to do.
It's time for the old school bus, man. Crank the bus up. Got something real cool for y'all. Hold on. Old school bus, Destro Garcia, you back on the storm. You've been listening to good friend of the show, Lamar Strait. He's joining us on the Thunderstorm hotline here tonight. Lamar, just go ahead and give everybody your social information, how they get in contact with you.
One more time.
All right. You guys can follow me at Our Health Matters. That's OURHELTHMATTERS _. That is on Instagram, and that's the same thing for my Facebook. If you do have access to Instagram, I'd much rather you follow me on Instagram. I'm much more active on Instagram versus Facebook.
Yeah, we definitely appreciate you joining us on the show here tonight, man. We've learned a lot. I personally have learned a lot from you. It's always good to do that. Trey, you know what time it is, right?
Yes, sir. He don't know, but I do. We got to do it to him, and I hope you pick the right people.
Oh, yeah. The gauntlet's in effect. The gauntlet is in effect. And
Lamar, don't let me down.
Lamar Strait's in it. Lamar, lightning round, 20 questions the Thunderstorm way. You ready?
All right, let's go.
All right, cue the music.
Don't
NFL or
down,
NBA?
Lamar.
NBA.
Duke or North Carolina?
Dude.
Thank God.
Is there any team in the world that you hate more than Notre Dame?
Say it one more time.
Is there any team in college football that you hate more than Notre Dame?
Now, college football, I pull for a different team. I pull for South Carolina for college football.
Cool.
Oh, he's a great man.
So we redirect the question. Is there any team in college football that you hate more than Clemson?
No.
Fair enough. Mary J. Blige or Beyonce?
Beyonce.
We got to take that question off. We know that who's going to win that.
Who?
Beyonce, dude.
Dude, Mary J. Blige is a
Ain't
head.
nobody rocking with Mary.
Dude, Mary J. Blige.
Hey,
since we've answered that question,
Florida.
since we've been answering that question, Dontrell, Mary J. Blige is ahead. Because you got to remember, you joined the show late. Mary J. Blige is ahead of Beyonce by 375.
I've heard that. I've heard that, but I don't see how. Somebody, we got to redo.
We'll have to talk about that. We'll have to talk about that in a second. Redbox or Netflix?
Netflix.
Jodeci or Boyz II Men?
Jodeci.
New Edition or Guy?
New Edition.
So in the championship round, Jodeci or New Edition?
Say it one more time.
So in the championship round, you going Jodeci or New Edition?
Can You Stand the Rain is a classic, but I'm going with Jodeci.
Cool. Prince or Michael Jackson?
Oh, you come on now. Come on with it. Don't you do that.
It depends on what stage of life, but I'm going to say Prince.
All right. You going with the... Trey, let him do the gauntlet.
Oh, I'm sorry, man. Why he chose Prince over Mike?
Trey, let that man do
Hey,
his
as
own
far as
gauntlet.
creativeness goes, Prince was way more creative than Michael Jackson. Michael Jackson didn't write any of his own material.
Man, he been listening to you now.
Trey, chill out, man. He's in the gauntlet. All right,
fine.
we going with the Civil War. Captain America or Iron Man?
Oh, easy, Cap.
Superman or Batman?
Easy, Batman. I got on Batman socks right now.
So we going with Captain America or Batman in the championship?
Batman.
Who really won that fight, Spence or Porter?
I ain't watch it, so I don't know.
Okay. Who really won that fight, Floyd Mayweather or Manny Pacquiao?
Floyd. I didn't watch that one.
We can jump in the car with you right now. You turn the car on, what we going to be listening to?
Let me see. Right now, probably listening to XX Tentacion.
Cool. Luxury vehicle or SUV?
I got kids, so I'm probably going with that SUV.
Gotcha. You're the GM of a franchise. Do you take Cam Newton as your quarterback?
Say it one more time, you cut out.
If you're the GM of a franchise, starting your own NFL franchise, are you taking Cam Newton as your franchise quarterback?
Depends on what stage of his career. Thank you.
Right now.
No.
Question number 20. Can you name one quarterback that's thrown a temper tantrum after the Super Bowl?
That I can actually. Okay, so here's the thing with that. Okay,
go ahead.
So you just so happen to see Cam Newton, but I'm pretty sure there's a whole bunch of them that did it that just didn't get publicized for it. They didn't do it in the public side.
True indeed. True indeed.
I know John Elway after his post-game conference kind of threw. He was kind of mad because he had lost 3 Super Bowls in like 5 or 6 years. He went there back to back, and he kind of like lost it. Dan Marino kind of went through that. There's a couple of quarterbacks that kind of didn't.
I feel bad for Dan Marino, man. Like all the running, that man never had a running back.
Jim Kelly did it,
but he didn't want to run it back. Think about it. He was trying to throw for 4,000 and 5,000 yards. So think about it. During his era, it was an accomplishment to throw for 3,500 yards. Dan Marino's out there slinging it, getting 5,000 yards. He wanted, as much as people want to say Dan Marino wanted to win, he also wanted the acclaim, the individual success that he was able to get. And if he wanted to dial back his numbers a little bit, he probably could have got a good running back. Because what running back all-star caliber wants to go to a team and only get 800 rushing yards when at that point in time it was a running league. So he didn't want to sacrifice his numbers in order to get to the championship and win it. He wanted to throw, but everybody knows in the playoffs you got to switch from that throwing to be able to go into the hole and run. Because when it starts to get nit and grit, you ain't going to be able to put it in the air. You got to run the ball.
That's my fear about the Chicago Bears right now, man. I'm like, if they can ever find some offense, who going to want to go to Chicago in the middle of January?
Like, who wants to play in Five Below?
It's crazy. All right.
Right.
Drop the bomb for him one more time. Mr. Strait, we appreciate you. It's been a pleasure. We definitely want to let you know that.
Well, I appreciate y'all for having me.
Oh, most definitely, most definitely. You know, you family and I want to let you know that, you know, we wish you continued success. We'll continue to pray for you. You know, you always got a platform. Anybody else you know needs help getting things off the ground. You need help getting your stuff off the ground. You just want to come by, get some things off your chest. You're always welcome on the storm. We appreciate you hanging out with us.
All right. I appreciate y'all for having me.
We've monopolized too much of your time, bro. We appreciate you. Thank you for coming on. Have a good night.
Thank you, man.
All right. You've been listening to Lamar Strait on the Storm. Big Rob, CEO of Our Health Matters. Learned a lot. You know,
a whole lot.
At some point, man, we might have to go ahead and extend to that 3-hour format, man, because we can do an hour-long interview and we don't even get to talk about what we want to talk about.
Right.
All right.
Didn't even get to.
This is the thing, Trail. This is the thing, because you done started something now. Something that's near and dear to my heart. I don't know why we can't agree on no music. Well, we agree. I agree that Beyonce is amazing. I agree that Michael Jackson is amazing. I tell people all the time, like, you'd be hard pressed to find a bigger. People don't believe this. You'd be hard pressed to find a bigger Michael Jackson enemy. But the facts are the facts. And it trips me out because what's really amazing is I think what we've done so much in our culture is we got two great icons. And what we've done is we've been spoiled and we've been blessed to a point where we get to watch these two great icons work at the exact same time. It's something that we should be proud of as a people, and it's something we should be thankful for as a people, but it's something we may never see again. Michael Jackson, Prince, at the exact same time. Think about that for a second. Think about World Wrestling Entertainment. Some of you are not fans, and I understand that. Some of you are not what I would consider wrestling fanatics. Everybody knows me, knows that I am one of them. But what a people are never going to understand, and I need a Thunderstorm audience to understand this, we were blessed to see Michael Jackson and Prince at the exact same time.
Right.
Also blessed, if you're a wrestling fan, to see Stone Cold Steve Austin at the same time we saw Triple H, at the same time we saw Shawn Michaels, at the same time we saw The Rock, and Degeneration X is walking around. You have all these icons at the same time. And honestly, ladies and gentlemen, that's the WWE's problem. They can't create new stars. So they force feed you people that you really don't care about. And they're never going to have The Rock and Stone Cold Steve Austin and all these people at the same time again. And we should never say never, because we never thought they'd be able to recreate the Four Horsemen and Dusty Rhodes and all this other stuff. They had Ricky Steamboat, Dusty Rhodes, Ric Flair's over there, Magnum TA, if you go way back, Wahoo McDaniel in that era. And then you fast forward to another era, the Attitude Era. You got Stone Cold and The Rock and Triple H and the Nation of Domination. You got all these things at the same time, and The Undertaker's there. And the WWE can't create new stars. So what they do is they just keep bringing back the same stars that you used to watch.
Definitely. And now those stars done got too old to do what they used to do, so they just don't look the same.
Yeah.
Like when you see Undertaker now, he look like he gonna fall apart.
Yeah. But people would still show up to see the Undertaker. He's still one of the biggest draws they have. People still want to come and listening to, what is it, that 2001 theme, and listen to Ric Flair come to the audience. They want to hear him, woo! They still want to hear this.
Of course.
People want to see the glass break and see Stone Cold Steve Austin. And shout out to the WWE. SmackDown's coming on Friday, and then I'm sure it's going to be a big extravaganza. They're going to bring back a lot of the old stars, but they can't create new stars.
It definitely is, and it just got announced too. The Rock said he gonna be there. Stone Cold said he gonna be there. Mm-hmm. Undertaker said he gonna be there. So if you are a big wrestling fan like myself, Friday night you tune in. Not because we want to see these new people, because we don't know half of them. I'm gonna be honest with you. I don't like it now. Mm-hmm. But since I know they coming, I got to watch it. Because that's the era I grew up in. I grew up in the Attitude Era, so I'm used to seeing a certain standard when it comes to wrestling. I was probably the biggest wrestling fan ever during that time. I had all the little wrestling men. I was doing it up at that time. All the T-shirts, all of it. I had the whole 9 yards. And for me, when you think about it, it's almost hard to look at it now because, like you said, the era that I grew up in, I'm so used to having multiple people to look up to. Whether I used to like them all. Stone Cold, The Rock, the Nation of Domination, even when it was Kane and the Undertaker's turn, when it was the Brothers of Destruction. It's just different, whatever fits you. There was always a wrestler that fit you at that point in time. You had some people that loved The Rock. You had other people that loved Stone Cold. And then you had those people that loved both of them. So, I mean, like I said, if you're a fan of how it used to be, tune in on Friday.
We should never say never. Like I said, I thought there are some older cousins and uncles of mine that sat there and said they thought rap was going to have to stop after The Message. Then there's another generation of family members I have, and they thought it was never going to be the same after Rakim. What else can you do? And I'm sure there were people who thought you'll never be able to top the Ric Flair, Ricky Steamboat, Wahoo McDaniel, the Four Horsemen. You can't top that era. And I'm sure there were people that thought you'll never be able to create a bigger star than Hulk Hogan. And some way out of that, they created these stars, and they had the Attitude Era. Think about it. The same time you had Hulk Hogan, you had Jake the Snake and Rick Rude, and you had somebody that's really underrated, the Macho Man Randy Savage. I don't think the WWE knew what they had.
Very. Because I don't think he didn't get the proper respect he deserved until he went to the WCW.
Think about
my opinion.
You got Bret Hart, and you have Bret Hart at the same time you have Shawn Michaels. And you have Stone Cold and Triple H and The Rock at the same time. And the WWE is struggling because we can't say they'll never be able to do it again because they've done it over and over again. But they're at a point right now where it just seems like they can't create new stars. And music will go through its cycles. And sometimes there'll be lulls and sometimes there'll be high points. But I can definitively say never. We're never going to have Prince and Michael Jackson at the same time again. So because they're both iconic, they both have a stature, they both cast this huge shadow, they always get compared to each other. And both of them are eccentric, which added to it.
True.
And then you got a Mary J. Blige and you got a Beyonce. My thing about that has always been this, and for me, Trailer was always Mary, and this is why. I've always believed, and I've always been able to see that you can tell a lot about people about what they're interested in. Mm-hmm. And certain types of people like certain types of things. Certain types of people like the Dallas Cowboys, and I just don't get along with most people who like the Dallas Cowboys. They're different.
I can agree with that.
Women, in my opinion, I'm not knocking either side, but women, in my opinion, different types of women like Beyonce as opposed to Mary J. Blige. And every time I've had a connection, every time there's been a love connection, every time there's been somebody that I can sit there and say, this is my sister. This is the person I can call up and talk to about anything, which is why when we do the gauntlet, Mary J. Blige is 300 points ahead of Beyonce, because I have certain types of relationships and friendships, and all those people are like on the side where it's like, Beyonce is talented, she might be this, she might be that, but Mary is my girl. Because Mary was that, she reminded you of that homegirl you had that probably wasn't the greatest singer, but she got on. And she could make you feel proud because she reminded you of like 75 other homegirls you had. While they was trying to make divas out of people, they put Mary J. Blige in a baseball hat, a baseball jersey, and put knee pads on and boots. And sat there and said she gonna be a diva anyway, and she was. And just for my sentiment, and I'm gonna let you go ahead and tell your side, but whenever I have a deep connection with somebody, their vibe is India Arie, Jill Scott, Mary J. Blige. That's their vibe. Neo Soul. And I'm not going to say I can't get along with them, but a lot of the chicks that like Beyonce that I've met, it's more of flash. I like that because it's shiny. I like that pocketbook because it costs more. That's the Beyonce crowd I've always met. The Mary J. Blige crowd, oh yeah, you going through something, we're going to pray about things, we're going to get through it, and then I'm going to cook you some sweet potatoes.
Somebody needs, okay, now listen, when you put it in those terms, I really, when I'm comparing singers, because I grew up in a musical family. My daddy played every instrument known to man. he really can play. He's not just one of those people out here saying he can play and can't play. He can really play. My auntie can sing her face off. So my grandma was the same way. Like that's what they do. Myself, I can sing, just a tad bit. It's one of those things where when I'm speaking in terms of who's better in either side, whether we're speaking on the mic or the Prince, and I love Prince. Let's start there. I really do, and I know the way y'all hear me talk about Prince on the show, it's like how does he love me? But I really do. Listen, I enjoy Prince thoroughly because whether I'm on here talking about whether we compare him or Michael or not, the one thing that I will never take away from that man is he's a musical genius. And yes, he's one of those people that the same goes for Mike. So but this is the thing about two musical geniuses. When you're comparing both of them and you're trying to put them together, we may have certain things that we like, but we can never deny that they're both musical geniuses. Mm-hmm. That's never going to be the case. So let me clear that up for the people that might think I hate Prince. I really don't. I love him. Now, when it comes to the Mary and Beyonce argument, for me, it is strictly based off of the abilities, and this is what I mean by abilities. If I was to come and see your show live, could you do to me what you did to me when I listened to your song on the radio? Could I get the same feeling from you that I got when I listened to your song on the radio? And for me, every time I've heard Mary sing live, it don't sound the same. Or I'm gonna say this: the older Mary got, the more I started not to like her live performances. Young Mary probably could now she could go, but and I know it's kind of crazy, but like I said, I'm one of those people. If I buy your record, or if I pay money to come to your show, I want the same energy that I felt on the record. And as bad as we may talk about Beyonce, or go ahead.
No, go ahead.
As bad as we may talk about Bianca, like you like to call her.
That's her name.
As bad as we like to talk about her, the one thing that I can pretty much say is she can sing. And I'm sorry, you say she can't, but I don't know where you get that from. But she really can. And the thing is,
3 chorus teachers in the family.
I'm not even a Beehive fan, and I'm saying the woman can sing. But that's not. So that's where I think, it gets off. When I'm saying I don't like Mary, it's not that I don't like Mary the person, because I've kind of heard some of her background, and I'm happy for her to come out of the things that she's come out of, especially considering the things that she had to deal with. But when I'm comparing those two, it's strictly off of the fact of, if I come to your show, am I going to hear what I heard on the record? Mm-hmm. And I'm choosing Beyonce every time.
See, that's the thing. I saw Beyonce for free once, and I'm like, okay. I've been to several Mary shows, and it's like nobody's sitting down. So I guess it just comes down to personal preference and everything, but man, there's nothing like when I put in what's the 411 to this day. 411 could drop next week, and it's the hottest stuff out. My Life could drop tomorrow, or I guess today because it's Tuesday. And My Life could drop, and it's the hottest thing out right now. And it's like, I'm a dude, and I listen to this girl say "Not Gonna Cry," and I'm like, she's tugging at my heartstrings and my emotions. And when I get with a man, for me, it's just, I wish there was a Beehive with the B standing for Blige. Because if that's the case, I'm a worker bee.
Man, wow, you gonna do okay? Oh, I know them comments about to blow up for real on that fan page.
It is
came for the Beehive.
Much love to the Queen, Beyonce. There'll never be another. There's never been another before her. But man, when it comes down to it, the long and the short of it is, it ain't but one queen of hip hop soul. And when I sit down, I listen to this stuff, man, I kind of watch what you gave to the game and what the game's like before you show up and what it shows like when it's after you. And I sat here and I lived through the Patti LaBelle's, and I watched all these people and Anita Baker to some extent. And I listened to the intonation and the Whitney Houstons and the way their music is constructed and put together. And then this chick shows up with that baseball hat and that baseball jersey on and them knee pads and them boots. And music sonically was never the same again. There's no Destiny's Child if there's no Mary J. Blige. And people don't look at it like that, but it was R&B. There's no R&B anymore. You got hip-hop soul, and you basically got neo-soul. And both of those come from a hip-hop egg. And there was one woman that came along and changed that for everybody. There's no Beyonce if it's not a Mary J. Blige. Or if it is, she don't sound like the way she sound now. But my thing is this, guys, it's about time to wrap it up. But at the same time, too, we talk about singing, like I said, 3 chorus singers in the family. And so often, we'll probably have to jump on this on the next one, Trail. But in the black community, we confuse a strong voice for being able to sing. Beyonce's voice is powerful. Mary J. Blige isn't. Macy Gray had a nasal voice. Erykah Badu was nasal. Beyonce had a strong voice. We admire Jodeci because their voices were powerful, but they drank and they smoked. And when the power went away, what did we start saying? They can't sing anymore. We like Fantasia, not because of the way she sounds, it's because her voice is powerful. Even in our own lives, when we're in the car and we're singing, whenever we get to the high note, and what do? If there's a high note in the song and we can't hit the high note, what do we all do as people? You start screaming. You take Beyonce, strip the power away from her voice. You have an out-of-tune piano. She ain't hitting no notes. She's talented. She's beautiful. She's all those things. But if the power left Beyonce, like the power seems to be leaving Fantasia, what about Whitney Houston? Whitney Houston's voice was powerful, but she hit notes. What happened to Whitney? The power left her voice. In the black community, we confuse strong voices with good singing voices. Beyonce can't sing, man.
I don't know about that now. Listen, I just, like you said, it's preference, man. Because a lot of it, like I said, I disagree with it, but I can understand your logic.
Yeah.
But that's just like a person that confused good singing with riffs and runs. Just because you can do a lot of riffs and runs, if it's not placed right, I still say you can't sing.
Okay.
So,
fun.
I mean, like you said, it's a preference.
It's been fun. Let's do it again tomorrow, man. I think we found a topic.
Always.
I think we found a topic for tomorrow. Or 2 or 3. We'll get into it. We touched on a little bit tonight and everything because we're in cruise control. We're at the end of the show. But we appreciate y'all for coming in. Thank y'all for all the comments, both positive and negative. Thank y'all for hanging out with us. Thank y'all for liking the Thunderstorm media page. We changed the name. Did you notice that? It's no longer the Thunderstorm Hip Hop Sports and Entertainment Network. We thought that was a lot to say. So we just shortened it, man. Thunderstorm Media. We appreciate y'all for liking it. We appreciate y'all for hanging out tonight. She's closed us so hundreds of times. Let's let her do it again. My girl, just a story.
K-Figs. Hey, yo, Jess. We got another one.
I'm not sorry for the roads that I cross. I'm not sorry for my pain or my loss. I'm not sorry for my black and blue. All the blood that I shed because I chose you. I'm not apologizing for what's in me. Standing tall for the things I believe. When said and done, once I've gone through, you're not the one I need the answers to. I don't
respect, we get it. It's been proven, just out of respect, we gets it, cause we moving. Y'all heard things, how we burn the scene, to turn up king and turn up queen. It's the movement. Not sorry how we light up the mic. Say Jay's story, we got it on fire tonight. You'll see the light. Had to drop another anthem. Bonnie and Clyde, the new Ashford and Simpson.